Come on. Do I sound like I'm joking? Do I sound like I'm playing? When you look into my eyes, you understand what I'm saying? Let me say it to you slowly, and it may sound scandalous. I don't think that you can handle this.
All right, let's move on to Saturday. The first game up is the 9-5 Houston Texans. They're heading to Kansas City, face the 13-1 Chiefs. Houston is a 2-point favorite, and the projected total is only 39.5 points. That means Vegas is telling us that the Texans will score 20 3/4 while the Chiefs score 18 3/4. Now, in case you were wondering why the 13-1 Chiefs are underdogs here, I have your answer. Patrick Mahomes injured his ankle last week. He's considered week to week, but Kansas City did get a couple of good news as far as injuries. Kicker Bucker is back in action, and Hollywood Brown has been out all season because of a shoulder injury. He's back to practicing. I think he will be back possibly this week, most likely next week, but really they just want him ready for the playoffs. Texans come in pretty healthy. Nothing really happened last week as far as injuries. Okay, Mike, Steph, who you got? Houston or Chiefs with or without Mahomes?
I have a quote from head coach D'Amico Ryans after the game, and it goes as follows. We're still taking 1 week at a time. Even though we've clinched the AFC South, it still doesn't change our approach, D'Amico Ryans said Monday. D'Amico Ryans and C.J. Stroud, the quarterback, are the only coach-quarterback duo in NFL history to capture division titles in their first 2 seasons together. It's also the 4th time that the Texans have won consecutive division titles, and the first time since 2018-2019. This success comes after they won a combined 11 games in 3 seasons before Ryans and Stroud arrived. Now, while the Texans welcome the challenge of these Super Bowl champions, Kansas City will probably be without the aforementioned Patrick Mahomes. He injured his ankle in the 4th quarter of a 21-7 victory against the lowly Cleveland Browns this past Sunday. Now, going on the Chiefs, people feared that Mahomes' injury was worse, but it wasn't a season-ending injury after it was reported to be a mild high ankle sprain, which didn't he battle that like 2 years ago? And like even last year he was hobbled, right? And like this is like it. I swear I've said, and not to go on a tangent, but I've said for last couple years, matter of fact, for years since Mahomes came in, that there's a parallel between Patrick Mahomes and Steph Curry. And the ankles are just like, it's just throwing it right there. Besides the fact of how they've revolutionized the game and the position and all that, facial features, all that hair, all that. It's just something about those that they're just too simpatico. The 2-time NFL Super Bowl MVP would carry a week-to-week destination, meaning that he could miss this game. But there has been plenty of chatter of whether or not Mahomes should play at all for the rest of the season. Like, because right now, Kansas City is in the middle of a stretch that includes 3 games in 11 days, in which the quarterback had said before that he is not a good feeling. That's before he got hurt. So imagine him trying to limp out and play 3 games in 11 days on a gimpy ankle and then go into the playoffs. It doesn't really make sense. Now, headed into week 16, the Chiefs are the number 1 seed and have a 2-game lead over the Buffalo Bills. And while they could afford missing Mahomes for 1 game, Kansas City could also secure the top seed as quick as possible so Mahomes can get that extra rest in the final weeks of the season. Because there's such a quick turnaround in week 16 and 17, former NFL receiver James Jones said the decision should be for Mahomes to miss the game against Houston and then reassess for the game against Pittsburgh on Christmas Day. We'll see you on Christmas, and we'll see how you feel. And we'll get you ready for that game after Christmas, Jones said. I want him to be healthy when the playoffs come, and they got to be smart with Patrick. So with all that being said, Houston, -2. I guess that spread is pretty much requisite of whether or not Mahomes plays. I'm going to go with the Mahomes he's going to play because he's just that stubborn. So the Chiefs +2 would be my pick. Over under, I will go under because I think Mahomes will play, but I think they will definitely concentrate on the running game between Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco, and that'll still be enough to beat this shaky Houston Texans team.
Yeah, I think that spread right now is hedging on Mahomes probably not playing, but they're not sure, so they put it kind of in the middle. I would say for bettors, if you have a feeling one way or the other, whether on the pick or if Mahomes is going to play or not, you might want to decide if you're going to bet now or later, because that spread is going to change if he's definitely in or if he's definitely out. It makes a lot of sense for him not to play. You're right, he is stubborn. That's the only thing that makes it a possibility to play. I have to feel like they're going to sit him, but I can't really say for sure. I don't. But I will say this: I'm taking the Chiefs +2 because even if he doesn't play, this is two of the most strugglest, non-looking great winning teams I've ever seen in my life. Kansas City is amazing. They're 13-1, and Houston, how they've been playing lately, it's amazing that they're 4 games over 500 themselves. And the Chiefs, they just don't know how to lose, so they'll figure out a way to win this game, probably by a point, probably by the Texans missing a last-minute field goal. As far as the over-under, I'm going to go under 2 because, again, these winning teams are on the struggle bus.
I'm Desmond Powell, host and creator of Hip to the Games, and I am incredibly grateful to announce that the show has been nominated by podcast professionals from some of the biggest networks in the industry for the chance to be named Sports Podcast Group's Best Basketball Podcast. While Hip to the Games merges the love of basketball and hip-hop, it's an honor to know that one side of the spectrum has received this kind of love. And as a fan of the show, this is a very easy way for you to show your support for Hip to the Games. You can cast your vote by visiting sportspodcastgroup.com, navigating to their drop-down menu, and clicking the awards tab to view the 2025 shortlist. There, you'll see the Best Basketball Podcast icon, where you'll scroll down and find Hip to the Games, where you can hit the like button to officially lock in your vote. Regardless of the outcome, Hip to the Games will always be about celebrating the brilliance of basketball and hip-hop's past and present. So make sure to get your votes in before January 13th, as you remain such an important part of this podcast growth. I sincerely thank you for all your support.
Game 2, Saturday afternoon. The 10-4 Pittsburgh Steelers are heading to Baltimore to face the 9-5 Ravens. The projected total is 44.5 points, while the Ravens are 6-point favorites. That means Vegas is telling us that Pittsburgh will score 19.25, while the Ravens score 25.25. Part of the reason the Ravens are such big favorites is because Pittsburgh has a couple of major injuries. TJ Watt, his ankle, he hurt his ankle last week. He's optimistic he'll play, but we'll see. But who's less optimistic is wide receiver George Pickens. He has a hamstring injury that's projected out to be multiple weeks. He already missed 1 week. He's listed as questionable, but I would consider him doubtful. Mike, Steph, what do you think about Steelers, Ravens?
Well, I'll start with the Steelers first. The Steelers have a 1-game lead over these Baltimore Ravens, with a head-to-head victory over them as well in this race for the division and playoff seeding. With a slim 1-game lead over the Ravens, the Steelers don't have much margin for error. Things don't get much easier with the Chiefs and the Bengals remaining on their schedule as well. The Steelers have all of 5 days to recover from the injuries that you just laid out. A win would clinch the division title, so that should be some type of motivation. Do you know that 12 times the Steelers have made the playoffs under Mike Tomlin? That ties head coach, Hall of Famer Chuck Noll for the most playoff appearances in franchise history. Listen, I'm not a Steelers fan per se, but I'm a fan of Tomlin. So yeah, salute to that man. Now going on to the Ravens have dropped 8 of their last 9 to these Pittsburgh Steelers. The Baltimore Ravens came out of their bye to face a reeling Giants team, and as expected, Baltimore got the easy run. Lamar Jackson due for 5 touchdowns on Sunday, and for the season he has the following: 34 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 3,500 yards passing, and a 68% completion rate. You add on another 700 plus on the ground, and that's simply unbelievable. Lamar may be closing in on the third MVP, but like I said, Josh Allen is certainly in the driver's seat, despite the fact that Jackson may end up putting up better numbers this season than he did in either of his first 2 MVP campaigns. So that Baltimore plus -6, no. Pittsburgh plus 6, because I think they can smell that division. They don't like how they got manhandled in Philly over this past weekend, and somehow, some way, they might not win, but I think they're going to cover that spread. So I'm going to go Pittsburgh plus 6, that over under. You really think they cracking the 20-point barrier? No, under.
I'm lining up with you. Pittsburgh is 7-2 in their last 9. That includes last week when they lost to Philadelphia 27-13. A.J. Brown in particular is just a very bad matchup for the Steelers. He's been consistently a bad matchup for them. The Ravens, on the other hand, they've also faced Philly a couple games ago, and they lost 24-19. But really, they lost by almost the same exact score because they scored with 7 seconds left, a garbage time touchdown. It's basically the same score. I think that Pittsburgh just lines up better against the Ravens than they do against Philadelphia. So I expect this to be a closer game. Of course, the reason you would think that maybe it won't be is because their primary wide receiver, George Pickens, is out. Still, I think Tomlin and the Steelers cobble out a way to score some points, and their defense does enough to keep the score under and to at least be plus 6. I actually wouldn't be surprised if they actually pulled this game out, winning a field goal matchup.
You know, it's black and blue division for a reason, and I didn't realize until I was doing prep for this that Pittsburgh has won 8 of the last 9 meetings. So evidently, they know how to corral Lamar Jackson. So it's all the people that's not named Lamar Jackson that have impact on that game.
This is a 19 Media Group presentation.
That should be a new drop. Garbage TV. Garbage TV. But yeah, they
killing my fantasy team with this garbage.
Yeah, I'm a trooper. I'm a warrior. It's all love to me. Yeah, 3. Tracy. You know what they say about Tracy? Tracy Burns. CeeLo. You know CeeLo, right? Dice. 4, 5, 6. Okay. Either here, there. My bad.